Welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1973 made-for-TV Exorcist ripoff, The Horror at 37,000 Feet. The film centers on a group of passengers aboard an international flight from London to New York. They quickly realize that they're being picked off one by one by an invisible demon that's stowed away in the cargo hold. An invisible demon, huh? I guess that's one way to cut down on your budget. The film features a cavalcade of 70s TV veterans, including Buddy Ebsen, Chuck Connors, and Paul Winfield. This film is a veritable who's who of who gives a but the real star of the show is none other than William Shatner.
You can call me Bill.
You got it, Bill. Bill stars as a jaded, alcoholic former priest who's all but lost his faith. But he soon realizes that he needs to put down the bottle and regain his faith pretty goddamn quick when that pesky demon begins causing a ruckus in the cargo hold. Still better than flying southwest, I guess. To sum up the plot, it's basically just The Exorcist on a plane.
I have had it with these
demons
on this plane.
Without further ado, let's get after it. In the opening of the film, we're introduced to an insufferably quirky cast of characters as they board the doomed voyage.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
It's quite all right.
Good heavens. That's Flight 19X. That's boarding right now, sir.
Yes, it would be, wouldn't it?
Not long into the flight, things take a decidedly ominous turn when one of the passengers receives a pair of haunted headphones, and that damn demon starts whispering sweet nothings into her ear. Meanwhile, up in the cockpit, things aren't going so hot either.
We got a small problem.
Roger, AOA 19er X-ray. We see it. Thought we'd fouled up here on your position.
We haven't changed position in 10 minutes. Problem seems to be a jet stream. We're not moving.
It's almost like they're in a toy plane hanging from a string.
We have your blip 19er. The devil you doing up there, flying in circles? Your position unchanged.
6 hours and 20 minutes of fuel left. We're burning it up.
Round about that time, the passengers begin to suspect that something ain't quite right.
The lights aren't moving.
What?
Peculiar. Ugly illusion. Motionless. Suspended.
As soon as he gets a couple drinks in him, he starts talking everyone's ear off about the time he saw a goddamn gremlin on the wing.
Beautiful moon tonight, huh?
What? Are you my granddaughter?
Well, I don't think there's any problem.
I fly my own plane, sweetheart. A custom jet.
And I've got 6 race cars and a boat.
They keep changing altitude and power set. Now be a good girl and go find out what's happening.
What's going on in here?
Well, I suppose it's time I told you about the Mile High Club.
Bit of a problem. Like what? It seems as if we're caught up in this crazy kind of a jet stream. It's as if we're hung up here on a hook. What does that mean? Look, talk later.
Wow, thanks a lot, Deborah. In a situation like this, there's only one thing to do. Hand out some more cheap booze to the passengers to keep them mellowed out. Meanwhile, we check in with 2 passengers who look like they're in the opening scene of a 1970s adult film.
Tell me, are you a very good architect, Mr. O'Neill?
I'm a very successful architect. You tell me now. Are you a very good model?
How did you know I was a model?
But that damn demon can't help but be a cockblock, and he totally ruins the Mile High Club party when he starts possessing the passengers.
Excuse me, please. I'm a medical doctor, doctor in color.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish.
Satan.
Something about a catheter? I don't know, I'm lost. She gets like this when she's had one too many spritzers.
Latin, is it not?
Yes, yes.
Still, not as terrifying as being surrounded by Star Trek nerds trying to speak Klingon at you.
Is it serious?
No.
Sure, a warm towel will help. It's a possession, not a fever. Meanwhile, everyone's favorite flight attendant gets into a bit of a sticky situation when the demon tries to hotbox her to death.
There's an emergency door on.
Come on up, honey. Walk your hand, yeah?
Right?
Captain Chuck Connors and his co-pilot take a break from drinking in the cockpit and decide it's time to investigate these strange goings-on.
Look at this. Something like moss on the bulkhead.
Yeah, you never want moss on your bulkhead. Might need to get an ointment for that.
Ernie, get out! Get out!
I swear, you can't turn around for 5 goddamn seconds without a demon freezing your co-pilot to death. Oh, that's my drinking hand. 30 minutes in and we just now have our first victim. Do better, movie. Do better.
What happened?
Jim. He's dead.
The flight engineer. He says he's dead.
Yeah, I'm right here. I heard it.
How did it happen?
The demon also shit my pants, too. Complete chaos is breaking out all around him, and Bill's over there doing his f***ing Sudoku puzzle.
Jim's dead.
What?
Something in the cargo hold killed him. We don't know what.
Is the captain gonna be okay?
As far as his physical wound is concerned, yes. As for the rest, I'm not sure.
Hey, what the f*** is that supposed to mean? I'm out of booze and I'm cranky.
It's the flight engineer. He's dead.
What?
Something awful's happened back there.
Out of my way. This is a job for a frail and drunken old man.
Oh, here, try this. Uh-oh. Look at that.
Ah, man. That airline food will do it to you every time.
Believe it or not, here we are in the last half of the 20th century under these circumstances.
Captain's log. Stardate, 1977. My crew and I have found ourselves in a very shitty film.
And what are we worrying about? The grotesque practices of a primitive cult that was stamped out before the coming of Christ.
Not entirely, Mr. Kovalik. There are still druids.
Oh, yes, of course there are. And there are still witches and Satanists.
The Twilight Zone gremlin is pissed that he didn't get an honorable mention there.
What have druids got to do with what's going on here? Everyone on that heath knows the legend. They've faded for hundreds of years. Inside the altar at Grove Abbey was a druid sacrificial stone. That stone is on this plane.
You trying to tell me that a piece of rock's got something to do with killing the flight engineer?
The abbey was built on the sacred grove of the druids, a place where they committed human sacrifices to the ancient gods of darkness, cold, wind. The old ones, they call them.
Hey, are you guys talking about me?
100 years, at the summer solstice, they still...
It's summer's eve. Paul, you said that was tonight.
For all I know, it's Halloween.
With as much as he drinks, he doesn't even know what month it is.
How do you know all this stuff, anyway?
Yeah, where did you learn all this stuff?
I'd like to look at ruins. Preferably religious ruins.
Couldn't you have picked another hobby? I don't think an alcoholic should be handling demonic rune stones.
Paul is a priest!
Was. Very definitely was.
But the ancient runestone business is really booming these days.
Hey,
Okay, so he struck out as a priest. So what? What's that got to do with us? With all this crazy business. This lady's talking about demons and spirits and stuff on this airplane. Well, I'd sure like to get some answers, and right quick.
Perhaps you are too eager for answers. Sometimes there are none. The only magic I know
Magic the Gathering. I love it.
is that man can resist gravity and fly at 37,000 feet.
I hope that makes you happy. It hasn't me.
What would?
I'm going to open a bottle of it right now. It might not make me happy, but it will amuse me to think of all of you back here worrying about your lives as though they were of some importance.
He gave this same speech to his co-stars on Star Trek all the time. Bring the truck around, Jethro.
We have to find out what it wants.
The demon is pissed that they didn't have any vegan options. Good thing he took his Boniva today.
Now listen, whatever it is, it's back there.
Very good, Grandpa. Diarrhea Airlines. We're still less shitty than Delta. Wow, look at Bill back there. He's just refusing to put down his drink and act terrified.
I understand we're stuck up here. You ought to demand your money back.
Wish I could find something funny in all this.
Stick around. Maybe you will.
I'm gonna be doing my stand-up set in about half an hour.
A rabbi and a priest are sitting on a park bench, see? And they're discussing comparative religions, and the rabbi says, God created the heavens and the earth in just 6 days, and the priest piped in and said, on the seventh day, he rested, and just then, a Vulcan walked by and looked at both of them and says, that is highly illogically, there is absolutely no mathematical basis for this uniquely human assertion, and then he walked away. That was good money, bud.
You're the sacrifice they demand.
Maybe she's right. What else can it be? Everything's gone crazy. You know all about these things. You were a priest, weren't you? What can we do?
You don't want a priest, Mr. Fryler. You want a parachute.
Don't you laugh at me.
I don't care if you are Han Solo, you're not gonna talk to me like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I was frail and old.
A sacrifice. Perhaps we could offer it this.
You mean like voodoo? You want to offer the doll instead of...
Well, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I think a demon's gonna be able to tell the difference between an actual person and a doll.
But I understand what's happening here.
Well, that makes one of us. And so they start getting Polly Pocket ready for the big sacrifice. Is all of this really necessary? As predicted, this childlike gesture only pisses off the demon more, and he swiftly turns the doll into a steaming pile of diarrhea. Would you just get off your ass already and grab a crucifix? We've got a serious demon problem on this plane, man. Desperate to stay warm, the passengers use the remaining booze to start a fire as a last resort. Hey, what's cooking? Smells good.
There's more liquor upstairs. Get it!
Too late, already drank it. With his fellow passengers turning on one another, Bill finally decides it's time to frock up and face this demon head on. And he ventures alone into the metaphorical hell that is economy class. You know, for what it's worth, this still isn't as bad as your average Delta flight. And if you're looking for a happy ending, pick a film from another decade, cause this is the 70s, baby. And our hero's getting flung right the f*** out the window.
Decompression! Mayday! Mayday!
Still better than Delta. Captain Chuck Connors is gonna bring this baby in for a landing.
Please
Please give us priority clearance for emergency landing with full standby.
Roger, AOA 19er X-ray. Do you want clearance for instrument landing?
Negative, Cornwall. Negative.
Now he's going to go home and give Mrs. Chuck Connors a good old-fashioned rogering.
You talked to him last. Why?
Perhaps somehow it was a final act of faith. If there are devils, there must also be gods. I don't know. I have no thoughts.
Gee, thanks, I guess. Well, that about wraps it up for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the flight. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and never forget the sacrifice that William Shatner made for all of us.
Who can say